this was supposed to be your year, right? So going into the offseason, the Bills played, before that, last year's playoffs. Josh Allen did play two of the best playoff games of all time.
He did.
He played against the Patriots where he had more touchdowns than incompletions. He faced against Patrick Mahomes, which is going to be one of the most iconic games of all time for the rest of the NFL history. And he should feel slighted because of the coin toss. The coin toss thing is a real thing, and you can argue that. You can have your opinions. Played a great game against that. I understand that. So I understand why people were excited about the Bills going into this year. It's like, okay, well, they almost beat the Chiefs. If things go their way, maybe they win that game. Who knows?
Right.
So I get that. I understand that completely. But here's my problem with the Bills this year. Like you said,
we saw a whole year of them play.
My problem with the Bills was not so much that people were excited about the Bills, but with how they treated the Bengals. And I'm going to get the Bengals in a minute, but I really want to dig in on the Bills for a minute. Because from the start, the Bills were the legitimate Super Bowl favorites over teams like the Chiefs, over teams like the Eagles, over teams like the Bengals, and over teams like the 49ers.
Even the Dolphins who beat them.
Exactly. So the Bills, from week 6 on, played poorly. And not just the Bills, Josh Allen did. Josh Allen led the league in turnovers this year. He regressed relatively, enough to point it out. And my other problem with the Bills this year is going into the playoffs and going into this game, this was your year to lose because you were pretty much the 1 seed. I understand things happened with the DeMar Hamlin injury, but then you ended up getting the number 2 seed. You face a Dolphins team with a third string team. You're just dealing with Skylar Thompson. You barely squeak out a win there. And then you go to Cincinnati. After watching the game the day before, that if you beat the Bengals, you face the Chiefs with hobbled Patrick Mahomes, who you've had troubles with in the past, but you play competitively with. You know that if you can go into, face the Cincinnati Bengals at home, that you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Because you see on the other side, you have the Eagles and you have Brock Purdy, who is a 7th round pick. So you're like, okay, for the Bills, if you're a Bills fan, you should feel heartbroken right now because this was supposed to be your year. And now you look around, you see Jordan Poyer's a free agent. You see Tremont Edmonds is a free agent. Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs is unhappy. And you saw how badly Josh Allen played in this game. It's like, as a Bills fan, ouch. And then as far as the Bengals are concerned, where was the Bengals hype all year? Because, look, man, I'm a Patriots fan. And I don't give a fuck about, normally I don't care about, the Bengals and shit like that. But the Bengals, like we said last year, they went in, they beat everybody that was in front of them. They beat Patrick Mahomes. The only person who had beaten Patrick Mahomes prior to the AFC title game was the GOAT, Tom Brady. And then they go face the Rams. They lose, whatever. But no hype about the Bengals going into the offseason. Everyone thought it was a fluke. They started off 4-4. They win their next 8 straight games to clinch what would have been, they got the 3 seed. And then they took care of business against the Ravens. Tough, gritty game. And then in this game, they absolutely destroyed the Bills. The Bills who are the self-proclaimed Super Bowl favorites. Mm-hmm. And they picked them apart. And they picked them apart just like we used the analogy last week, like the way the Patriots used to do with the Steelers.
Right.
We had Joe Burrow. Right. Nice, clean game. 242, 2 touchdowns, 101 QBR. Joe Mixon getting it done on the ground, making some key plays, creating some turnovers, making some plays for that team. And Zach Taylor, who we said all year was underrated. Nobody giving him his flowers. Everyone's like, oh, they're so bad because when they had no quarterbacks and when Joe Burrow tore his ACL and they were starting A.J. McCarron, and they weren't winning games because they had no talent around him, they didn't give him any credit, and they still think to this day that he's not good. Well, look at him now. He just outcoached Sean McDermott, another person who they self-proclaimed as coach of the year. Well, look at him now. They're out of the playoffs. They had a pathetic performance against a team where you're going head-to-head with the number 2 and number 3 quarterback in the NFL. Many people would argue. Whether you put one over the other doesn't really matter. Guess what? After this game, there is no case for Josh Allen as number 2. Josh Allen might not even be number 3 after this game. Josh Allen has jumped down. Yeah, sure, he's top 5, but he might just be 5 after this.
Yeah.
After that performance. That was pathetic.